Welcome to Nerd Jam!
Yeah, Nerd Jam, jamming it up. Nerd Jam.
How's it going, Matt?
Pretty good.
Matt, what are we looking to go over today in today's jam?
We're going to talk about the relatively new movie Rogue One, a Star Wars saga.
Our rebellion is all that remains to push back the Empire.
I think by relatively, I think it came out a month ago.
Yeah.
But since we're registered nerds, it's a requirement for us to watch the movie and love the movie and then talk about it.
Exactly.
All right, what else are we going over, Matt?
We're going to talk about a list of underrated supervillains, and they're in no particular order, and they're not the 10 best or the 10 all-time greatest. It's more or less 10 we felt like talking about today.
They're just underrated villains. You all need to rate better.
I demand satisfaction.
This is your fault, public.
They're underrated, and we're gonna try to increase the ratings.
Yes, after this podcast, they'll be just rated.
Exactly.
Is that how it goes? You're not underrated and you're not overrated. You're just rated.
You might be adequately rated.
Yeah, see, it's not fair. Well, it's your under overcoming. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what are we gonna finish up with, Matt?
And then we're gonna finish up with our third installment of Great Nerds in History.
Oh my gosh, we're getting quite an alumni.
Yes, exactly. It's been fan support for that feature has been phenomenal. So it's been described as probably the best part of our podcast. So we're going to keep going. But I
don't think I can disagree. This is the best part consistently throughout the other jams. We should just go over them quickly. Who do we have in the past so far?
Great Nerd in History number 1 was Vin Diesel.
Of course I can beat up a shark. What do you take me for?
The most muscular nerd ever, Vin Diesel, of course.
Yes, and the second one might not be muscular, but he's strong. His arm is strong, huh? Curtis Armstrong, who played Booger in Revenge of the Nerds.
I thought you were making a masturbation joke. Because he's the pervert, so I was like, oh no, Matt, what are you doing?
It works.
Oh, I do have to apologize because right after our podcast, I immediately remembered where I know him from.
Uh-huh.
From Jingle All the Way.
Put that cookie down! Now!
Jingle All the Way.
Do you know
smash hit.
Do you know which one he is?
Success. No.
He's Booster.
I know you. You're Booster.
Yeah! And who the hell do you think you are? Mary Poppins?
Oh my gosh, really?
I swear he's Booster because Arnold puts on a suit and is like, what are you doing? And then he gets punched or something. I don't know. Sinbad beats the crap out of him.
That was an excellent impression, by the way. that was spot on.
All right, man. So our requirement, Rogue One, Star Wars.
You can't be a nerd and not talk about Rogue One. Well, you can. But I don't like to make qualifying statements like that, but I just did.
I do, and we're going to take away your card, you
your card-carrying nerd. You're going to talk about Rogue One.
Please do not resist.
To borrow from the late, great Mitch Hedberg, you either loved it, or you hated it, or you thought it was okay. So, I like
those dilemmas.
Yeah. That look. Too bad there's no visual to go along with this so you can see the look on Jim's face. But anyway, so Rogue One. Do you want to start?
I'll start. I was actually very entertained by Rogue One. And I was very pleased because I was not a fan of Force Awakens.
Yeah.
No.
Like my deal with Force Awakens, it was a good movie. The presentation was great, but the story felt like a fart. Like J.J. Abrams, we have to make this fart presentable, and then he made the fart very presentable. It was just a lazy movie, but J.J. Abrams is a damn good filmmaker, so he made it work. I was smiling while I was watching it, and then afterwards, my smile fought my face and made a frowny face. So
the thing about The Force Awakens is, while I was sitting in the theater watching it, I loved every minute of it. I thought it was amazing. I thought I was into it, and I was excited, and then afterwards I was like, yeah, and then it was like the excitement started to wear off, and I was like, wait a minute, this is a remake of A New Hope. And then it was like, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, oh.
Why are they the rebels? They won though. Why are they in charge? They lost though. I don't.
So I think that
this is how nerds have a meltdown.
Yeah, I think Force Awakens was Disney's way of saying, "Don't worry, Star Wars fans, we can make a good Star Wars movie. It's not going to be like the prequels." And then they were like, "Now that we got that out of the way, let's make the Star Wars movie we wanted to make, and that's Rogue One." That's my theory.
Yeah. I don't. You could be right, but I think like the departments are making these movies, like the people who are making the trilogy, they got their own camp, and the people who are making the spin-offs are making their own camp.
Probably.
That's how I think things are going down, because I don't know, maybe they are talking to each other, but I have nothing to back this up with. That's just like the spin-off camp is on one side, the trilogy camp is on the other side, and they just kind of pierce each other in the Lucasfilms
that
parking lot.
Could very well be.
But I don't think, because I think number 8's supposed to be the one that they want to make. Say, we got all the way, we got the fans back aboard, here's number 8.
Yeah, could be.
Because Rogue One kind of wasn't. This kind of wasn't a Star Wars film.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, Star Wars is, in the end of the day, it's about family.
Yeah.
It's about that Skywalker, and not just about the Skywalker family, but it's about family in general, just like getting together. Like, there are a lot of coincidences, but that's because in this grand universe,
Well, Rogue One was about family, though. It was the father that was, then the daughter, and the father-daughter relationship.
What a relationship.
Yeah, well...
Bye, daughter. I'm going to make a nuclear bomb.
Now you have to stop it.
No, it's up to you to stop.
That's good parenting. That's just setting challenges for your kids. It's pushing them to achieve.
And that's our favorite rapper, Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Mads Macklemore.
Yeah, Mags Mackenheimer.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, he did a good job. So you said it's not really a Star Wars movie, and yet it's like super like indelible in the Star Wars universe.
But like, I don't mean that it doesn't have Star Wars themes. Obviously it has Star Wars themes. There's a theme when it comes to the Star Wars movies. There's family. I keep on saying family. There's other things too. Good versus evil.
Spiritual things. Like...
Yeah, and this movie tried touching with that, but it's his own theme, which is fine, which is kind of why I liked it. I was like, I kind of got pissed off that Force Awakens is so similar. I was like, oh, they did something unique. This isn't Star Wars, but it's like, I like what's happening, and they did it within the Star Wars universe. I'm a big fan of the Star Wars comics.
Yeah.
I give Marvel Comics a lot of credit that when they took over the Star Wars universe, they actually came out with a bunch of comics. I've been reading a few of those, and they've been pretty enjoyable. So this is kind of what this felt like, a Marvel comic book brought to life.
Yeah. Speaking of comic books, when Disney bought Disney bought Marvel and they bought Star Wars, and soon they will rule the world. But when they first bought Star Wars,
DC is our only hope.
Exactly. That it was sort of like, oh, all these years of expanded universe books and comics and magazines and toys and card games, and yeah, none of those matter anymore because we're making Episode 7 and all that stuff is not canon anymore. But,
oh yeah.
But what I liked about this was it took some elements from those things and we're like, no, we're putting them back in. We're like, one thing was it Kyber crystals that power the Death Star?
Is what makes the lightsabers, right?
Yes, and that was originally, I mean, that's never been mentioned in a Star Wars movie before. That all originated in the supplementary materials.
See, it has been mentioned before in media.
Yes.
The TV show Clone Wars.
Okay.
I own them all on Blu-ray except the lost episodes.
Uh-huh.
But in one of the episodes, they have the kids going to the fake Antarctica, a planet of Antarctica, whatever.
Yeah.
Say, Jedi kids, you need to get your crystals for your lightsabers.
Build your own lightsaber, you shall. But first, harvest your crystal. Each one of you must.
So it has been mentioned in me before, but people who watch the films only won't know crap about it. So yeah, it's kind of cool they connect those dots, the expanding universe. Mm-hmm. To me, that's an interesting thought. The power that leads the good side is also the power that can, I don't know, I guess it's a dumb thought because Darth Vader has the crystal too, so whatever. I don't know.
It's like it just shows that the lightsabers, it just shows that the lightsaber is supposed to be a thing in the history of the universe, and the power of the lightsaber, they said, let's make one great big real big one.
Let's make a big lightsaber.
And shoot it into a planet, and that's the Death Star.
Well, no, that's actually a good point though, because with the Jedi, that power is restrained. That power it's done in a little light stick sword, and that's kind of with I don't know, we're going to bounce back and forth between Force Awakens and Rogue One, even though it's mostly Rogue One, but with Kylo Ren's lightsaber, I said the Jedi, they have something stable. This is a controlled substance. Kylo Ren's lightsaber is not controlled. It's staticky, it's rough. His handles on the side are not controlled. That's something about the dark side, is they need that power. Exactly. They need more, you know. So that's a really good point, that they're that's a big lightsaber, you know.
Yeah.
Well, the Jedi wouldn't think of that, but the dark side would.
What are some other things you liked about Rogue One?
I did like that sassy ass robot.
Yeah.
Where'd you get it?
I found it.
I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
Me too.
Boy, was that robot sassy.
Here, I love that robot. He was my favorite. He's my
Favorite droid of all.
Favorite droid, favorite character in Rogue One. I keep wanting to say Force Awakens. In Rogue One, here's one of my things, and this might not be a flaw of the movie.
Okay.
This might be a flaw of my brain. But I cannot remember.
I have aneurysm right now. No.
Yeah, exactly. I cannot remember any of the characters' names in Rogue One. To me, the characters are the sassy robot and the good guy main girl, the blind guy, and then the guy with the backpack and the big gun, and then there was the piloty guy, and then there was the leader guy. I don't know any of their names.
No, you're actually absolutely correct.
Who are you people?
That's the problem I had with Doctor Strangelove.
Right.
Is that throughout the movie, besides Doctor Strange, I just refer to them all by their the stereotypes or whatever it's ethnicity or where they were or whatever like that. The sassy robot. It's like CS2PO or something like
I
that.
thought it was like AK-47 or something.
No, it's not. It's not. I thought it was Uzi 28.
I thought it was like KA.
No,
something.
I actually have a Funko Pop of that robot because he's just so sassy. I had to own him.
Rogue One? There is no Rogue One.
Well, there is now.
Pretty much either he's the blind swordsman. He was either to me he's a Toichi, like the Japanese film series. Just Donnie Yen, because that's the actor's name.
I called him Tang Chung, which sounds horribly racist, but it's actually...
it's not, because I said so.
A friend of mine growing up playing Mortal Kombat would always mess up the characters' names, and he called Raiden Rayon.
Perhaps pain will improve your manners.
And he called Sonya Sunny. And Shang Tsung, he would always call Tang Chung, and so
that's funny. That's funny. They can get away with that. I just called that one guy assassin. The girl was like Euro Jen or something like that. Kylo. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I want to. Oh my God, Homer Simpson in the house. Afterwards, I was like, guys, let's get some gyros because this gal made me hungry. That sounds weird, but no, I had the same problems. I didn't remember any of the characters' names.
Piloty guy, and there was the leader guy.
Oh my God, no, I didn't know who he was at all.
And then the backpack big gun guy.
I kind of like, you know what my comparison was while I was watching it. I was like, oh, here's a spin-off of Han Solo and Chewbacca. Because Han Solo was the Do you know what I mean? Not exactly, but in a way, because the big guy with the machine gun, he's always protecting the little guy, and that's what Chewbacca always does with Han Solo.
Bowcaster.
The blind guy is like, I'm gonna walk into trouble, and then I was like, oh, I gotta save my machine gun, and then Han Solo's like, I'm gonna get into trouble with my smart aleck mouth, and then Chewbacca's like, Rrr.
Who's scruffy looking?
I like that gun because
It's a good gun.
Well, and if you've ever played some of the Star Wars video games,
I've not.
Oh, like Dark Forces or Shadows of the Empire on N64, and you would get your rapid pulse gun upgrade.
Is that what that's from?
That's what that reminded me of. I don't know if that's actually what it's from, but that's what it reminded me of.
What kind of nerd are you? You don't know if that's the right weapon.
Yeah.
When I watch the videos of people talking about video games and they go, "Oh, I got this weapon," and I was like, "It's either a machine gun or a pistol." I don't know anything in between.
Yeah.
I'm not a gun person.
Yeah.
I go, "I want the shotgun." I always want the shotgun.
I always want the sniper rifle. Let's talk about Blue Milk.
Oh my God, let's talk about Blue Milk. Oh, no, the one of the biggest issues I had with this movie was the forced references. Holy crap, even Force Awakens. There were so many references, and it was just kind of it wasn't like, oh, that's cool. It was kind of like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
You know how I mentioned this wasn't a Star Wars movie. I was like, but it's in a Star Wars universe because of these. These didn't need to be here, though.
Right.
We got what they're doing. Blue Milk. Slapped. Actually, the Blue Milk thing was kind of subtle.
Yeah.
References got heavier from there.
Yeah.
Like the Cantina guys.
Yeah,
being
that was super heavy-handed.
Was the planet called Scared? Is that the planet?
Something like that.
Yeah,
Scarab.
Sandy Scared planet.
Scarab. Scarab's desert.
But the Cantina guys, I was like, did they fucking just die?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah,
spoilers.
As usual.
As now, spoilers.
But
yeah, they walk by those guys, and like, okay, I recognize those guys, obviously, who, if you watch you know, you should know who those guys are.
Right.
And then, like, did they die? They blew up that planet. Like, my friends were like, no, they just took the ship off. I was like, how do you know that?
They made a CGI Tarkin look exactly like Tarkin. They made Leia look exactly like young Leia. But then that guy didn't look... He looked like a completely different actor. I mean, the alien walrus butt face guy looked the same, but the other guy looked close enough that you knew who he was, but didn't look... He still looked like a totally different guy to me. Anyway,
you might be right. I'm okay with it.
So then I was like...
He was there for 2 seconds.
So then I was like, are those guys that just are similar to the Cantina guys, or are those the exact same guys? And if
that
so,
could be their excuse, but it's like, they just blew that planet up.
Yeah, exactly. And how did they get from... Well, they didn't blow the whole planet up, though. They just shot the port.
They just blew up the city?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But still, they were in that city. They were in that city.
Yeah.
Why was R2-D2 and C-3PO there?
Excuse me, sir. Might I inquire what's going on?
Because
I got excited. I was remembering A New Hope wrong. I was like, well, they got to get the plans. Obviously, I was like, no, they don't have to get the plans. All we need to see is Leia get the plans, because as soon as Leia gets the plans, we know that's when the movie can end, and that's what happened.
Well, I saw an interview with George Lucas many years ago, way before even special editions came out, when he was talking about how he had a 9-movie series, and during which I've heard other interviews since then where he's contradicted that, and who knows if that's even true. But during that interview, he said that the only 2 characters that appeared in all of the Star Wars movies were R2-D2 and C-3PO. And so I think that other people are aware of that, and I think that that's also true of the 7 movies, the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. R2-D2 and C-3PO were maybe the only 2 characters to appear in every single movie. And so I think some geek wants to just keep that streak going, and like, we have to put them in there. It's mandatory.
Yeah, you're right, but they were wrong for doing it.
Right, yeah.
Like, it's like, no, F off. We don't need them in here.
So, like, what, are they going to do that for every movie? Are they going to have, like, the Boba Fett solo story, and then all of a sudden they're going to be like, and hi, here's R2-D2 and C-3PO. Okay, we're done.
Right.
Get them out of here.
Like, that, no, it wasn't, no, like, they made a little joke, and I don't even remember what the joke was. I was like...
He was like, no one tells us anything. Ha, 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 the end.
Otunga should have just kicked R2-D2 over. It's like, come on, you idiots. The characters overall, you kind of mentioned how you didn't like that they're being shallow. Was there anyone's...
To me, the characters were flat, were shallow. I liked the blind swordsman guy because what I liked about him was that he was sort of a halfway Jedi. He wasn't like... There was no actual... Other than Darth Vader, I guess, but he's a Sith, not a Jedi, whatever. But there wasn't any real Jedis in this movie, but he was still, like, obviously Force attuned. Would be the terminology, I think.
No.
Okay.
I'm joking, I don't know. Yeah, I kind of, my thoughts about him was he heard about it, New Hope, like, Jedi is a dead thing, it's no more of this. So I think he heard the rumors, and he kind of came up with his own BS version of Jedi.
Right.
And it's just ended up working with him.
That's cool.
I was hoping in the movie they would do this thing where, like, he thinks he's got the Force, but the only reason he's surviving all these things is because his buddy's always just shooting everyone that messes with him. That would have been a funny joke and would have put some more things into it.
Mm-hmm.
But the one problem I had with Donnie, I'm just gonna call him Donnie Yen or Zatoichi, whatever. That's not his name.
Kenshi. He reminds me, before I said Sang Chung, but now he's Kenshi because Kenshi's a blind swordsman from Mortal Kombat.
Your eyes will betray you.
Are you sure it's not Jackie Chan?
Yeah.
Actually, Jet Li was considered for the role, but he was hella more expensive.
I'm sure.
Than Donnie Yen, so they were like, F this noise, we're just gonna use Donnie Yen. And he did fine if they didn't need Jet Li for the role. The one thing that bugs me, and this is what they do with badass blind people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil, Zatoichi.
Yep.
They act like they're like the disability isn't putting him at a disadvantage whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
Whatsoever. So it just kind of takes away from the levity of he's blind, and then you're like, so? That doesn't make a difference at all. There was one scene where he freaking shot a grenade launcher accurately. It's like, you can't do that blind. Like, everything else, I would have let go all the other crap. Him using a stick on armored soldiers, I would have let that go if he didn't use a grenade launcher and accurately hit a flying X-Wing. I was like, BS, but maybe they're going back to the Luke Skywalker, blind yourself before you shoot.
Use the Force, Luke. Let go.
And Stormtrooper armor has a established precedent of being
the worst armor ever.
Ewoks kill him by slinging rocks at him, and you can kill them with stick. Their armor's worthless. But I look at that as modern day soldiers. They don't get armor, so at least maybe it's not so much meant to protect them as to make them feel better. Like
confidence builder.
Yeah, we're giving you armor. Be grateful. It's a uniform.
I actually like that transition from the prequels to going, the droid robots are horrible, let's go to human beings. That would be a nice transition if the new trilogy is like, this armor is complete garbage, why don't we find something more, savvy and stuff like that? But you know what? That would take away a reference of stormtroopers. So
Right, yeah.
Be a risky move. One of my favorite performances in the movie was Forrest Whitaker's Saw Gerrera.
Save the rebellion!
Did you remember his name?
No,
Matt?
I didn't. He was Forrest Whitaker.
Save the dream!
Yes. I'm not a huge fan of Forrest Whitaker, but I liked him a lot in this movie.
I disagree with you on this one. I thought he was like kind of out of place, and
someone gave him a shot of tequila and said, "Go act, Forrest Whitaker."
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna get me.
He was like, "I'm crazy. Blah. Here's an octopus." And it was.
I want it done in that order. It's nice to meet you. And here's an octopus in your face.
It seemed completely unnecessary, but I get how
it seemed unnecessary because they didn't give him any background.
Yeah.
Like, when they were exploding that city, he's like, I'm
gonna stand here and die.
I'm gonna die, and it kind of makes sense because he's walking around with robot legs and he's got the he's like falling apart. So I was kind of actually that's a good visual because he's if you want to make a little comparison to Darth Vader, he's kind of falling apart as his physical body goes. So does his humanity. So that's visual storytelling.
Right.
That's not storytelling they needed to tell with his relationship with Girl.
I wanted them to establish that more, like when they showed the robot legs and the breathing thing. I wanted there to be, and maybe this is too much, but I wanted there to be some kind of almost like metaphysical thing that as you lose your body, you lose your humanity, and it makes you turn evil. But I don't know. That maybe
what are you saying? You want a comparison? Like you want when he first finds the girl and be like, I'm a loveful man, and then later on he's like, I'm a robot and I hate everybody.
Well, because they were talking about how he was so extreme that the rebels didn't even want to work with him, and I thought they could have said he didn't used to be that way, but as he became more robotic, But I don't know. Maybe that's. I
didn't need that'd be too much exposition. They should have actually showed us with the girl. They showed him saving Felicity Jones, and then that's about it. We didn't give a little lovely like. Him smiling when he saved her or anything like that. It just he saves her. Now he's crazy. So I guess I understand what you're saying. I wouldn't have been happy if the rebels gave some stupid crap like we used to be able to trust them, but those robot parts, because that's in the Star Wars universe, everyone uses robot parts to replace them. So
I mean, Luke Skywalker has. Well, they kind of went that way already too. Like when
he was actually being. Yeah, no, you're right. He's being more serious, more stern once he got the robot parts. So that's maybe
And then they made the comparison that Vader and Jedi, and then the Emperor makes a comment, and then Luke looks at his own gloved hand and kind of like the realization and.
But like what actually my brain went the opposite direction of when they mentioned how much of a rebel he was, how he's too extreme. I wanted to see why he was too extreme. What the heck could he have been doing that was
Jyn
too
Erso? Is that
That's correct.
Sorry, I didn't mean to totally interrupt you.
Jyn Erso is her name.
Anyway, go ahead. Gyro sandwich.
Gyro?
What makes him so extreme?
Yeah, it would have been great for us to see because they show one scene
other
where
than
they're
octopus face.
Well, that wasn't even.
Will possibly make you lose your mind.
Did he have a British accent in the movie?
He turned into Moriarty.
Okay. I actually liked him, like the way he twitched, the way he's like, "Are you here to betray me? Or is that what you're here to do?" And you could just tell he was losing it. So I thought they did a great job of showing how the robot parts were changing.
I think actor Forrest did an excellent job.
Yeah, and that's why I was so disappointed. I was like, just get in the ship if you care so much, Well, and this makes me...
I am so extreme, but not extreme enough to get on board a ship.
Just walk on a ship. That's all you gotta do is just walk on that darn ship. And then
point. I showed them.
Actually, this kind of transitions to another point because during the trailers, they have him giving this awesome monologue to Felicity Jones.
What will you do when they catch you?
That's not in the movie.
What will you do if they break you?
Yeah, I hate that when trailers do that.
If you continue to fight.
But that was so passionate.
What will you become?
As you're watching the trailer, you're building for his character, and you watch the movie, and he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like they should have at least did something to where it's like, oh, hold off the storm, or I'll press this button that needs to be pressed to give you guys timer.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he's done. Trailer had a bunch of things that the movie didn't have. I'm bothered by it, but I'm not bothered by it. I'm more bothered just because I'm curious about it. But the reason is, like, the director's like, I read something, the director said, this is a bunch of footage we weren't going to use because it just didn't flow right the way I wanted it to flow. But the guys who make the trailers, it's always a different production company or someone they hired to make those trailers. We know this with like Suicide Squad and stuff like that. And then they go, oh, we want to use this, we want to use this. And he's like, oh, well, as long as they fit the tone of the movie, that's fine. And it did fit the tone of the movie. I'm more upset about the curiousness of it because we got the passionate speech from Saw Gerrera. We got the TIE fighter flying up on Felicity Jones while she's on top of the cable tower.
I was
or
super
whatever.
bummed that wasn't in it. Because I was like, so cool.
Like, how was she going to defeat the TIE fighter? And for all we know, it might have been super lame. She might have done something stupid.
Maybe they couldn't think of a way for her to defeat it, and that's why they cut it.
What I'm guessing is they survived. In an alternate version, some characters survive.
Oh.
And then the director's like, that's not what I wanted. And they're like, fine, we'll let you do your thing and we'll make it right.
Well, and I think they, in a way, almost had to kill him off because otherwise you'd be like, how come these people weren't showing up in the later movie? You know, there'd be some jerkwad asking that question, like
probably us.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably us.
Why wasn't Kin Hiro siding with the Ewoks?
And I give the movie credit for doing the ending of the movie they did. Yeah. Okay, and I gotta say this: that final fight scene was great.
Oh yeah,
on the beach and everything like that. Love the one scene where the guy shoots a grenade launcher at the AT-AT.
Yeah,
and the AT-AT go boom, and it looks back at him like, "Bitch, did you just shoot that?"
Yeah, it's like, oh hell no.
Yeah. I was almost gonna say that theaters. Oh, it's on! AT-AT gonna get his shit down.
Yeah.
And no,
what the fuck did you just do?
Can't think of the filmmaker's name. It's like Edward Gordon, something like that. He made the Godzilla movie.
Oh, okay.
But he knows.
I wouldn't be bragging about that. No, I'm just kidding. I was thinking of Matthew Broderick.
No. Here's my point, though. He knows how to do action right. Characters, not so much, because that's why the Godzilla movie kind of sucked, because the characters were
well, and that kind of sounds like this movie too.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's my point. It's like the action. He needs two directors. We need to get someone who's like, oh, I like to make romance and get your characters all hyped up, and he's like, I need to slow things, double co-direct.
The one thing I want to mention, and I saw a YouTube video about this, and I thought it was kind of interesting because A New Hope takes place like immediately after Rogue One, how when you watch A New Hope now with that new context, it kind of changes things a little bit. And one of the examples that sticks out in my mind is at the very beginning of A New Hope when Vader gets onto the ship. Leia says, "We're on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan," and Vader's like, "I just saw you blast off."
Right. Kind of makes like a police being an a-hole pulling him over for no reason at all.
Yeah.
It's like, we didn't do anything. But here, it's a high-speed chase now. The New Hope is like, bro.
Yeah. But it kind of works, though, because Vader's reaction is, you are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away. So he's like pissed. Like, how dare you lie right to my face when I saw you take off right in front of me.
Right.
It's like the drunk person getting pulled over. This is the example they used in the YouTube video of the drunk person swerving in front of the cop and then getting pulled over going, "No, officer, I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about."
Don't talk about Carrie Fisher and influences. She's dead now. It's inappropriate.
Yeah. Well, that was awkward.
Drugs had nothing to do with her death. What?
Take the air out of the room.
I don't care. Darth Vader. How do you feel about Darth Vader?
I was just saying.
I can't believe I forgot to talk about
Carrie Fisher saw what she looked like young and had a heart attack.
I had a heart attack when I seen Carrie Fisher, and my friends were like, "What's the deal?" And I'm like, "I didn't think she looked that good." I was like, I thought they would put her in there, and I know CG is great these days, but so my brain should have expected it. But I was like, what are they going to do? Are they just going to show the back of her head and then go, here's a Princess Leia, thank you, and then walk away like a Muppet or something like that? But they're like, boom, there's Princess Leia and a movie, and I was just surprised. They CG'd a whole person, but I was still like, well, what's going to happen with Princess Leia? Of course they're going to CG her.
Yeah.
And she didn't, it wasn't Carrie Fisher either. They had another actress and they CG over her, which is...
It was...
Carrie Fisher was alive when they did, so obviously.
Right. And some people even thought it was like a deleted scene, that it was that good, that they...
Oh, no.
I didn't think it was that good.
No. Like, it's not, it was, like, I'm not dissing it, but I was like, you could tell, though, what's deleted and what's not deleted.
Yeah.
So Darth Vader.
Dark Helmet.
Make way for Dark Helmet!
Approaching the ship, throwing people into the air.
Oh yeah,
lightsabering the shit out of everyone.
You wrecked that shit, and it was amazing.
Him. Hell, he killed him.
Thank you for correcting me.
That's an old joke. But
oh my bad.
That's
wreck her. I hardly know her.
No, it's a joke about a Model T Ford with the crank on the front of it.
Oh, okay.
And it drove. The Model T Ford has a crank on the front, and it accidentally hits the dog. And the guy's telling the vet
what
about
is the story.
Just wait.
Okay.
The guy's telling the vet, yeah, I was driving a Model T Ford, and my dog got in the way, and I accidentally hit my dog right in his asshole. And the vet says, don't say asshole, you should say rectum. And he says, rectum? Hell, it killed him.
Okay. So good save, Matt. Yeah. Nothing to lift people's spirits like a dead dog joke.
Exactly. Anyway. You heard it here on Nerdgen, or maybe you heard it here for the first time in 30 years. But anyway. Darth Vader rocked the house.
Yeah,
kicked it over.
It was great.
I liked his lava house. You were just gonna say you hated it. I love it.
I didn't.
I said it first, so that means it's real.
What do you mean?
That means I win.
Oh,
that means it was awesome.
Are we having a debate? Is that what this is?
That's how it works.
That's how it works. I said it first. Darth. Okay, Lava Planet.
Wrong. No.
Fixed and post so hard.
Yeah.
But as Lava Planet, I didn't hate it, but just like the ideas of it, because the Emperor's the one that's supposed to be meet me in my pimp house, not Darth Vader. Darth Vader's like meet me in my pimp, but he's a ground trooper.
Right.
He's the one who's actually being told what to do from generals, and then when the generals get a little too pushy, that's when he's like, I'm a choke a bitch. Kind of presented as he's the one in charge, which is like everyone's perception of him because he's so famous.
Right.
But you're watching New Hope, the generals are all blah 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 blah, and Darth Vader's just sitting there like he's the muscle.
Right.
He's the BA, and he's not supposed to be like the one. Come to go with Darth Vader first, and then he'll give you a mission. It's like that's not how it was working in the original trilogy.
I hear you.
But they here's this lava planet, and the design of Lava Planet was blah. But was it on the same lava planet as the third Star Wars?
That's what I thought, and that's what made it cool to me, because I thought he was like, I'm gonna take this lava planet, I'm gonna make it my own. I'm gonna dominate this planet. This planet tried to kill me, but it's mine now. And
I guess it would have been too much to explain it, but I wish there was some way for them to emphasize that. Like that idea also entered my head, but I was like, I wish there was more, like a better design for the castle or something, like they're getting crystals to make his suit work or some garbage like that. I don't know.
I did hear
something to show that he would own it.
I heard something to the effect of that in one of the early versions, I don't know if it was Empire or Return of the Jedi, that Darth Vader had a lava castle and it never really made it past the concept art stages, but that it was something that was in the concept art, and so they were like, that's awesome, we got to make that official.
Yeah, I know, I got something similar, made it for Empire Strikes Back before Empire Strikes Back had a full story.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, this isn't going to fit in Empire Strikes Back at all, so let's cancel it out.
Yeah, but he is the Dark Lord of the Sith, so I mean, he should have some sort of Dark Lord of the Sith
of the Sith? Who's the Sith? It's him and Palpatine.
Yeah, exactly.
So Palpatine would be, if Palpatine's an a-hole like he is, he'd be like, you don't get a house, I get a house. He should have a pimp day. Palpatine doesn't even
maybe it was Palpatine's castle and Darth Vader,
and he was just chilling in it. He was he was house sitting for Palpatine.
Well, he was the doorman. Maybe Palpatine was right behind the door. They just never showed him. He was off camera.
Don't deal with them, Darth Vader. I am sleepy.
Oh crap! What's his name? Go get the door.
I've pooped in my pantaloons and I cannot attend to this stupid general right now.
That frickin' Death Star kid again. Go get Darth Vader. Go talk to him. Make some stupid joke and choke him.
See, they should have put that in the movie, and then I would have had my less whining about Darth Vader having a pimp daddy house.
Yeah. One more thing I wanted to say quick is that
we got so close to wrapping it up.
Yeah, is that this is supposedly supposed to be a standalone movie, but if you had if you lived in some cave parallel universe and never heard of Star Wars ever before in your life, this movie I don't think would have made any sense whatsoever. But
I disagree.
Really?
Yes.
I don't want them to explain more. Like, I thought they explained it exactly as much as they should have. I actually would have been bored and annoyed if they would have went and talked all about this is the Force and this is the Empire and this.
You don't need to know what the Force is.
Yeah, that's true. But
you don't need to know what the Force is. You don't need to know what the Sith is, right? Just Darth Vader's this big a-hole. Because the only reason you need to know what the Sith is because you need to know what the Force is, and since you don't need to know what the Force is, and then the Death Star too, you don't need explanation for that because it explodes a city, and you're like, oh, that's what that is. Like if this is your first time seeing a Star Wars
kind of like
movie.
I saw Saving Private Ryan. I didn't know anything about Germany. No, just kidding.
But that's true though.
Right.
Like I think you'd get the context of the movie. Like you'd probably, if you watch Saving Private Ryan without knowing about World War II, maybe you have a little sympathy when they're flaming them with torches. But that's something else.
Your accursed logic is winning me over again. So, what were you saying? What do we rate this hog?
I'm gonna give it 3.5 blue milks out of 5.
I was gonna say I'm gonna give it 3 jams and a jelly. So yeah,
all right.
I think that's actually the same rating.
I don't know. We have to wait till our cook, the wizard, fixes us up and tells us what we made of after this. All right, let's go on to the next topic.
The next topic is a list of 10 unrated villains in no particular order, and these are not the best unrated villains. These are not the most unrated of unrated villains. These are 10 unrated villains that James and I...
Matt, you're underrated.
Underrated. What am I saying?
You're saying unrated.
Oh, they're unrated.
You kept on saying, I was like, I can't fix this in post.
They're explicit. They're NC-17 villains.
Oh my gosh.
Well, one of them is, kind of. Anyway. But underrated villains. Villains that, for whatever stupid reason, Immortan, Jim, and I feel have not gotten the high praise they deserve. And so we're going to discuss that and 10 of them.
And it's in no particular order, just we want these to be adequately rated, and that's why we're bringing them up in Nerd Jam.
Don't say, how come you didn't talk about so-and-so, because maybe we will on a different episode. Because
I won't talk about them. You bring them up all you want. I'm not going to talk about that person you bring up, you fans.
Put something in the comments. Test them.
Don't you test me.
It's comment bait. Anyway, go.
Number 1, Taskmaster.
Taskmaster is a Marvel villain. He has a skull mask and a hood, and usually has a round shield akin to Captain America's and a sword, and sometimes a bow and arrow. And he's an Avengers villain, also fights Captain America solo. And basically his whole gimmick is he has what they refer to as photographic reflexes, which is basically a mimic power. He can watch someone do something one time and then do it perfectly. So he could watch Muhammad Ali fight a boxing match and then be like a world-class boxer as far
What's up, Mike Tyson? And beats the crap out of Mike Tyson with his...
he could watch...
now, could he do this through footage, or did he... Okay.
He took... And that's, in fact, one of the first stories is he watches the Avengers on TV and then becomes... Because he sees Hawkeye, he becomes an expert bowman, and because he sees Captain America, he becomes excellent soldier fighting, flinging shield.
Give it up, Captain. I possess the techniques of the greatest fighters in the world.
Etc.
Now, part of the problem with Taskmaster when I collect it is he's always isn't he thrown in as a groupie usually?
How they use him most often is that he's a trainer of other villains.
Oh no!
Yeah, and so like Red Skull will be like, I need some minions, and then he'll be like, Taskmaster, train me some new minions.
So predictable.
And so then Taskmaster's job is to train the lackeys, and so he's got this I think it's an amazing power, but what do you do with it? You train people. That's just kind of stupid.
Well, actually, no, you're right, it is stupid, because if you ever unleash him, then it's like, oh crap. But it's like, well, it's like when you're watching one of those movies and there's like a lieutenant, and the lieutenant's always kissing butt to the guy. It's like, no, you should be the one in charge. F that guy.
Yeah.
My point was, like, he's a good guy to have training people too.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna rip off the best, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If he's gonna rip off Captain America, you want him to ripping off the best. So that's be the thing. It's like, look up the best supervillain ever. Then he's gonna watch a Galactus video and like, oh crap, he's got Galactus. I don't know if he's ever done something that powerful, but still, to that extent. Yeah.
One of the things they showed in one of the stories I read is it's a gym, and there's a gymnast working out on the horse with the handles, and he's got his legs in the air, and Taskmaster's like lounging in the bleachers, like eating popcorn, watching this guy.
Yeah.
And the guy's working really hard, sweating and stuff. And then like the next panel, you see Taskmaster with a big smile on his face doing the same move at the gym, and then the next panel is Taskmaster's getting the gold medal, and the other guy's off in the sidelines like, "Nurr."
I'm faster than you think.
You know.
So we could just go to the Olympics and then just watch past footage.
Yeah.
Like you be at the 220 Olympics, and it's like, I'm gonna watch the 216 Olympics to see who kicked apples then. You know.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Okay, so. So Taskmaster, is there something you'd like to see him do in the future then?
I'd like to see him like break out more and get to be more of a star. They kind of did this with the Dark Reign storyline. Norman Osborn had his sort of inner circle, and towards the end of that, he appointed Taskmaster to the inner circle, and part of the story was Taskmaster was like, holy crap, I'm in way over my head.
You're just a paycheck.
And Dr. Doom.
Oh, so he just doesn't have the confidence to fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's all he needs to be adequately rated.
I'd like to see him just go totally balls out and just I don't know, just go to town and like with his balls out.
These words.
I'd like to see him really kick some butt. Take on the Avengers and like hold your own.
Hope I don't get things too confusing, but I'm just reading Justice League where they have Amazo.
Oh yeah,
and Amazo pretty much has like the exact same kind of exact same powers, but but yeah, that's basically like the fight is like they're like, oh crap, it's Amazo, but they reprogram themselves and that's how they beat him.
But he can't watch Cyclops shoot optic blast and then go, oh, I can do that now.
Yeah.
He can only do like physical stuff.
Yeah. But like if you watch Captain America, he's like in the Winter Soldier, he's like, did he just jump off a plane without a chute? And he's like, yeah, you don't need a shoot. So, like, Taskmaster, that'd be a great skill for him.
Too.
Me too. Yeah, there's Taskmaster. Me too. It's like, where did this guy come from?
Or he could watch Elektra and then be like a super ninja. Not the movie Elektra.
No, I'm an on and off with Elektra fan.
Okay.
Depends on who's writing. If it's Miller, amazing. If it's someone else,
he could watch Jessica Jones and then be a super BA sassy pants woman.
That's what his goal should be. Sassy pants. All right, next underrated super villain
is Black Manta from Aquaman, and he was on Super Friends as part of the Legion of Doom. But what I really like about I don't know, I love how Black Manta looks. He looks creepy to me with his big goofy helmet with the big eyes.
Well, it looks like something from those sci-fi movies from back in the 60s, like something if you're watching Back to the Future and he's looking at those sci-fi novels. That's something that it's a Black Manta.
That's perfect. That's actually that's a great way to describe it. And from what I know of Black Manta is that they've not discussed his alter ego. I think it's David is his name, but basically it's like Aquaman killed his dad and he's a mysterious guy, and that's about all you know about him. They don't go into like, oh, he once had a wife, or oh, he used to
they don't try to sympathize at all besides a dead dad, but it's like the comics still do a great job of making him seem like an a-hole, so your sympathy goes away really, really quickly.
And he's got like this super high-tech scuba suit, and it's like, where did he get it from? Who knows? Did he make it himself? Did he buy it? Well,
it's funny you mentioned super high tech, because like if you know swimmers or anything like that, usually swimming they want to make it as sleek as freaking possible, and his is like he's wearing a UFO on his head. Yeah. I think that's part of the reason people underrate him. Like, he looks like such a goofball. He looks like the Hey Arnold. You know what Hey Arnold is? Yeah. He looks like Hey Arnold when he grew up, and then for some reason Arnold hates Aquaman.
Half-breed trash.
There's an old Tom and Jerry cartoon where Tom is trying to pretend to be an alien to scare Jerry or to kill him and eat him, whatever.
Sure.
And he has this big giant red melon with two big eyes that he puts on as part of his costume.
Oh, okay.
And it always reminds me of the Black Manta helmet. Or it always, as a kid, I remember that cartoon, and then when I see Black Manta now, I always am reminded of that Tom and Jerry cartoon.
If we didn't know about Aquaman killing his dad, I would almost believe that he was a UFO and crashed in the ocean.
And then just grew a body.
And then just grew a body.
Why not?
Sure, yeah.
Now I can interact with humans.
Sometime we have to go over this in Nerd Jam, but it's a lot of speculation of all the UFOs that crash make it to the ocean, because there's so much ocean. Why wouldn't they go to the ocean instead of Mexico?
It's just playing the odds.
Right.
Have you ever seen the movie Batteries Not Included? With the little UFO, the little Transformer UFOs.
I think I have, but I can't give you any details.
That's what Black Manta is. He's one of those Batteries Not Included.
Well, and Black Manta's got a freaking laser beam. Which is pretty awesome. And it's like one of the key things is, like you said, he's a mysterious background, and he is hella determined.
I won't let you ruin my plans.
There was one mission I was reading where Aquaman's trying to collect all these relics so he can bring back Atlantis, and then all of a sudden Black Manta pops up and he just starts blowing crap up, and he's fighting 5 people. And he's like, I don't give a F, I want to kill Aquaman because he killed my dad, and like he was outnumbered. He don't care. He was messing things up. So his determination is amazing. I'm really I don't know if he's going to be next Aquaman movie. I think they're going to do Orb first.
Okay.
Aquaman's brother. He's good.
Ocean Master?
Oh, yeah, he's good. He's
I was like, when you said Orb, I was thinking of SpongeBob SquarePants, the Dirty Bubble.
Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy's arch nemesis, the Dirty Bubble.
I think that's his real name. Is like Orb something.
Or Orn.
Orn. It might be Orm. My bad. Yeah. But he's a conflicted character, so I'm excited about him. But Black Manta would be a very good. The guy who's directing Aquaman is very good with scary movies because we enjoyed Conjuring 2.
Oh yeah.
Black Manta would be a very good horror effect to have you just have this looming UFO size head. It's like, oh god, what is
Hopefully
this?
it won't be in slow motion like in Batman v Superman though. Like, I'm Aquaman.
Oh yeah.
Here
I was like, I like slow
out.
motion Snyder, but I didn't like the Aquaman bit. The Aquaman bit was kind of funny.
I'm gonna stab you.
So now that you all appreciate Black Manta, let's go on to our next supervillain who's underrated.
Klaw, which is Klaw, which is a Marvel villain, played a predominant role in the original Secret Wars story of the 80s, and then sort of just fizzled out after that. And basically, this is a scientist who made his body into solidified sound and is able to make sound constructs, kind of like how Green Lantern and Sinestro make constructs of light, except he does it with sound. And how does that work? I don't know. What's the science? It's a comic book.
There is no doubt in my mind that he will die.
So, and he's absolutely a frickin' Looney Tune nuts. He's kind of like a goon. He's just like, yeah, I'm Klaw, whippy.
Whippy.
Your wings make sound, annoying sound.
He is. He kind of is like that, actually.
Oh, okay. You think that might be the reason people don't look at him as much, or is he always just a goon? Or
well, in part of the original Secret Wars storyline, Doctor Doom dissects him and and he's like, I don't care. I made a sound. I don't feel any pain. It's fun. Wee!
Reborn as the most powerful being on Earth.
You know.
Oh my gosh, that's actually very fun but creepy character. I wonder who would own that character. If Fox owned that character, I think it'd be great for the X-Men universe. I don't know if he'd work out so well in the Marvel universe. You know what I mean? Because X-Men, they kind of touch things a little bit more.
Right.
He'd work for Deadpool or X-Men. You know, the X-Men fight goofy.
He'd actually be a great villain for Deadpool to fight because Deadpool could just stab and cut and slice, and he'd be like, "Woohoo! It's fun! Yay!"
I think the special effects for that might be a little touchy. Who is Klaw usually fighting?
He's an Avengers villain usually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How does he?
He fought Quasar, which could be on our list of underrated heroes, but that's a whole nother story.
How the heck would you defeat a Klaw? Hulk to his clapping thing and go,
well,
there he goes.
He's got this big loudspeaker for a hand, which is kind of like where he generates himself from.
So they just have to short circuit that.
Usually they find some way to like trap him in a vacuum because sound can't exist in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of goes, oh no, and like piff and disappears, but then his little metal speaker piece is left.
Oh, sure.
And then as soon as they get him, if they ever let him out of the vacuum, then he's like, and like reforms and is like, hi, I'm back.
I am the sound.
That's how they always defeat Sandman too. They always just Sandman just vacuums
in
them up.
Sandman, they put him in an actual vacuum cleaner. I'm talking about like a vacuum,
okay.
Yeah, airless.
I went too simple in that one.
Yeah. Next is the Blob.
Yes, that's one I kind of wanted to get on there. Part of it is just Blob is everyone just looks at Blob as, oh, he's just a fat guy.
He's a big fat
and it's like, yeah, old fat people are immovable and powerful.
Fat piece of crap.
Blob, yes, he is a fat guy, but it's not just that. He does have a mutant power that makes him different from fat people. Like, fat people really aren't as sturdy as people like assume they are.
Yeah.
I can't speak on that too much.
You listeners at home don't have video, but Immortan Jim here is a little more he's athletic, whereas I myself am a little more blob-like. I don't think.
No, don't.
But
that's not where I wanted to go with this conversation.
I got a belly. Fat people, you just get in the way.
Well,
you can't move.
right, and that's not the case.
If you've ever been to Walmart or Sam's,
but that's because they're on those carts.
Yeah,
they're on those carts, so they have assistance.
There is some truth to that. But
okay, this isn't fat shaming. It's not my point. No. So the reason I think people underrate him, you watch the Wolverine movie. He doesn't even give us immovable powers. He's just a fat guy.
Yeah,
that's literally what happened. What happened to him? He ate a lot after the war.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like Wolverine moves them pretty. Oh no, they do a little thing, but then Wolverine, so it's not that hard.
Yeah, but look what they did to Deadpool in the Wolverine movie. Oh, poor, miserable thing. The Wolverine movie's horrible.
Look what they did to Wolverine in the
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look what they did to Gambit. Gambit was kind of cool. Age of Apocalypse. They don't even show his face. He's face down from the second you see him. He's face down in an arena.
Yeah.
Nothing says schmo like being. Your only appearance in the movie is being face down in a arena.
Yeah.
You get to stand up.
I have one of the first volumes of the X-Men comics, and they actually kind of have a sympathetic storyline for him. Like I think he's just in the circus, and they're just trying to see we can't move him, and they go, "Here's pay $5 to try to move him," and no one can move him, and they have a little X-Men and Magneto have a little battle of who can recruit the Blob, and X-Men are like, "Oh, you're not just a fat guy; it's part of your mutant powers," and Xavier's like, "I can help you with those powers," and Magneto's like, "Oh, we can use great things." He's more than just a bigger guy. And the first comics didn't make him so rotund. He wasn't. He was maybe a 250, 300 pounder. Nowadays he's like 600 pounds. So I think the comics should give him a little bit of justice. I think the visuals they just like simplified because of the visuals. I would like to see a battle between him and Captain America. That'd be a fun battle. Well, people would get mad at me because they're like, "Oh, that wouldn't be a fun fight." I was like, "I think it would." He throws the shield and Blob's like, "I caught your shield because I can absorb."
Yeah, just kind of goes and sticks.
Yeah.
2 quick stories about the Blob. One is that in the early days of Wizard magazine, there was a raging debate for several months about because Juggernaut, his power is nothing can stop the Juggernaut. And nothing can stand in the way of the Juggernaut, and Blob is...
Because I'm a Juggernaut, bitch! I had to.
Blob is nothing can move the Blob, and so there was the raging debate for months, maybe even years, of what would happen if the Juggernaut ran full tilt and ran into the Blob.
Oh, that's a good debate.
It's like matter, antimatter, would the universe itself explode? And then so that's something to think about. And then my other fun Blob story is we're sitting in a room littered with junk and debris of toys and action figures and collectibles, and it's crazy, but I occasionally will sell stuff at flea markets and on eBay, and I had some Toy Biz Marvel figures, and I had a figure of the Blob, and some mom was with her little kid looking at my figures, and she was like, "What figure do you want?" And I'm kind of a larger guy. This was a larger woman. And then she picked up the figure of the Blob and said, "Look, Billy, they have a figure of your mom." And I went, I thought it was hilarious. I laughed.
But you went too far and you lost a sale.
After
20 minutes.
After I saw the look on her face, I realized I should not have laughed nearly as enthusiastically at her joke, and I actually quite offended her. And then I kind of tried some mumbling like, "Oh, you're not that fat."
This is a PSA, everyone. This is no fat shaming, okay? That's why I put Blob on this list. Sick of your fat shaming, comic fans.
Alright, next.
Chameleon!
Chameleon is a Spider-Man villain, and he has the ability to alter his appearance to look like anyone else. He's basically Mystique, and except male. And one thing I want to point out is Mystique is always like portrayed, especially in the movies, as like just unstoppable, like it's the greatest power in the world. You can't tell who she is. How can you fight her? And Chameleon's always like, "Hi, I'm Chameleon. Oh, I got beat." You know, and it's like, why is it's the exact same power? Why is he such a schmo and she's so unstoppable? But I guess, you know, it depends.
She works out.
It depends what you do with it. And it's kind of inconsistent. Sometimes Chameleon has the power to actually change, like he's like Mystique, he's a shapeshifter. You know, sometimes he uses masks and disguises. And there was one more recent story I read where he was actually like cutting people's faces off and putting them over his own face.
Oh.
Yeah, so that makes him a little bit more BA.
Makes him an a-hole.
Yeah, Chameleon, first ever supervillain that Spider-Man fought. First Spider-Man appearance, Amazing Fantasy 15. The villain was Burglar, who killed Uncle Ben's wild rice, and then Spider-Man beat him up, and then went, "Why? With great power comes great responsibility." Amazing Spider-Man #1, first ever supervillain in the Spider-Man saga, the Chameleon.
That is brand new information!
So there you have it. It wasn't Vulture, it wasn't... well, Vulture was real close, but it wasn't Green Goblin, it wasn't... It wasn't Venom. I think Vulture was in issue 2. But anyway, it wasn't Dr. Octopus, it wasn't Sandman, it was the Chameleon.
Alright, so the question is, if he was going to be rated adequately, what would you like to see done with Chameleon? Would you like to see him actually get a win over Spider-Man, or would you like to see him like kind of top Mystique somehow?
I almost picture like a Winter Soldier type movie where he's infiltrating government agencies and being like a super spy kind of thing, because that was always part of his character too, was that he was a spy.
Oh,
and so I'd like to see him
sure. Be perfect in CIA.
Yeah, like
or Shield or the
right,
Marvel
exactly.
makes.
Like he'd be a great Hydra. He's never been affiliated with Hydra, but in the cinematic universe, he could be a great Hydra sleeper agent.
Is Hydra dead or not? I can't tell.
Who knows?
Great. Next super villain that's underrated.
This one is Dr. Light, and his probably greatest story ever was Identity Crisis, which is the story.
Which is what it kind of brought him back to a different light.
And it's kind of the story that in Identity Crisis was the story that made me like say, okay, I am now a DC fan. Because before that, I had been a diehard Marvel fan, and I read some DC comics, but I was always like, Marvel is superior. I read Identity Crisis, and I was like, wow, DC kicks ass.
And that's kind of cool too, because that's a very touchy comic.
Yeah.
Because it deals with rape.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Right.
But like the fact that I think part of the reason you liked it though is because there's some gravity to it. Now, this is kind of serious, surreal dilemma. So that's something that Identity Crisis brought forth. And one thing they did is they pretty much rewrote a fluke of a character.
Yeah.
Who's Dr. Light's main nemesis? Is it
Teen Titans, I think?
It might be Teen Titans or Arrow.
Yeah,
one of those two.
yeah.
But like they were in the Identity Crisis, they were just kind of like, oh, he's a goon. Who cares about him? He's an idiot. And then find out he's smart enough to get in the freaking Justice League.
It's called the Watchtower, but it's satellite.
So he's smart enough to get in that. So that's a great reason, Adam. He looks he's called Dr. Light, so you kind of roll your eyes like, oh, what does he do? Turn a light bulb? So fans don't really give him the credit he deserves. And one of my favorite comics ever is his battle with the Teen Titans. It wasn't a smart battle, but it was a visually endearing battle. All the Teen Titans are trying to stop him. This is after he gets his memory back, and they're all trying to stop him. Boom, light. What just happened? The Teen Titans are disoriented. They all try to give him Titans, go! Boom, light. And the comic is very action-packed, and they finally get him. He's like, I'm not done. That's something with Dr. Light. And then DC Comics kind of drowned him out, I think, just because he's a rapist now, so that's part of the reason he wants to do it.
It's hard to go places after that.
Yeah, I think as fans we can, I don't want to say get over it. Dr. Light's done, things get a little bit more serious, and he's a smart guy. He's like, oh crap, Justice League's gonna kick my butt. I'm no match for them, so I'm gonna get Destro.
Yeah.
And so it shows, it doesn't mean he's weak, it just means he knows how to play the Justice League.
Completely irrelevant fact, but Dr. Light, the way he looks with his beard and his costume, always reminds me, or vice versa, of the Monarch from Venture Brothers.
Nobody double crosses the Monarch!
And so whenever I see Dr. Light in the comics, when I read his dialogue, I always, in my mind, imagine it in the Monarch. I am Dr. Light! I always picture that Monarch voice from the Venture Brothers.
I do, but what I think now that you're bringing it up, maybe that's the reason DC stayed away from him, because they're like, oh crap, there's more Venture fans than are Dr. Light fans, so they're just gonna make fun of him whenever he shows up in a comic.
Yeah, good point. Next one is Karl Ruprecht Cronin, and I know what you're saying. Oh yeah, why are you saying he's underrated? Everyone loves him. or else, who the hell is that?
He's our favorite Nazi.
He's our favorite Nazi. Yeah, he's
Where do we go from there?
He's if you've seen the movie Hellboy, or if you've read Hellboy comic books, this is the guy that's like in the full-blown like Gestapo SS uniform, but with like the gas mask, and he winds himself up, but he's got the cool-ass swords that come out of his arms, and he's like super badass.
Yeah, he was super cool, because like when you look at Hellboy, you're like, well, who could beat Hellboy? He's this big stepping lad.
Yeah, exactly. He's a fine stepping lad.
What are you laughing at?
Yeah, I agree. But this guy, he was quick, he was fast, he's in charge of. It's weird to call them Nazis, because this is Dark Horse version of the Hydra. Yeah. So they just like
they're not really Nazis. They just kind of look like
they probably are Nazis.
His character was a Nazi.
But like my point is like they're not like, let's make camps, or like let's experiment to do crazy science scenes. Yeah. So that's why I was trying to make more of a Hydra comparison. Yeah. People don't look at him I think partially just Dark Horse. Yeah. It's a third party comic, and then he's a Nazi too.
Right.
So that's not always. It's kind of like similar to Dr. Light. It's like, oh, that's a touchy subject. I don't know.
He doesn't have a cool code name. He's not like Killbot.
Maybe come up with a better,
super Nazi. No, that's no good.
I don't know. It's tough to come up with like a better name for him. I think one thing that'd be pretty cool is because I think a lot of times when it comes to Hellboy, he always fights the supernatural. So I'd like to see him take over the supernatural.
Yeah.
Like give him some powers. Slice my knives this way to do this, or I have to sacrifice someone with my knives and then get the blood of knives, and then now I have these powers. That'd be something I'd like to see in the comics. Kind of alleviate his character and just kind of bring something new to Hellboy. Hellboy is kind of goofy, weird at the same time, but I think he's a character that they could use him more.
This character's also apparently addicted to unnecessary surgery, which that's just creepy and weird and cool.
Well, that's why he looks the way he does. That's why he looks so cool. He looks like a robot, because you're like, is this guy even a person in the first place?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I actually enjoy about him is the look, and the fact he's addicted to surgery. We were thinking about a couple doctors put on this list. Dr. Light can't do surgery, but maybe Professor Pig can help him out.
Yeah, there you go. Next we have Scream. Basically, this is a symbiote. There was a Venom storyline where some organization... okay, so back up. You have the Venom symbiote, which, if you don't know, is a parasitic alien or symbiotic alien life form that bonds with a host, gives you powers similar to Spider-Man. It produces offspring. The offspring of the symbiote becomes Carnage, and then some scientists in the story said, "Hey, I bet you this thing's got more offspring lurking inside of it." And so they
even more.
Yeah, and so they basically kidnap Venom and force it to in vitro whatever reproduce. So then you get extra symbiotes in the Marvel Universe. One of them is female, and that's Scream. And she basically looks like Phoenix and Carnage combined.
She looks great. Like, immediately when I seen her, I was like, this looks like if Phoenix got even worse. The arrogance! Because Phoenix is like one of the top Marvel villains ever. Yeah, she looks great. The color blends great. I was like, this makes me think if Jean Grey ever got the symbiote, she'd be Scream.
Other than that, they haven't really established her character that much, so I really don't have a whole lot to say about her.
Next one. Black Adam.
And Black Adam is basically like evil Shazam, or Captain Marvel as he's sometimes referred to. What I like about him is he's super arrogant. He, like, whenever they show him, he's always floating a few inches off the ground.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because you never see Superman or Shazam do that.
Right. He's like, I am better than you humans, and I'm going to show it. I'm going to lord it over. He usually has his arms crossed and he's hovering a few inches off the ground. And he's like sneering down at people. And he's not afraid to just whoop ass. And
no, this guy does not take any gruff, and he's proud to not take that. He wants to be in charge.
And he's the ruler of his country, and he basically will do anything to protect Kandak, is how you say it?
I think so. It's kind of Egyptian sounding like names.
Yeah.
Which is funny because you get something like Black Adam, and then then you get the rest of the family, and it's like, whoa, where do they meet these people?
Yeah,
I think he's just like, just Justice League hasn't been here for a bit, so I'm just gonna plant myself here, and then I'll accustom to the culture.
Yeah,
I wish I could pronounce names right, but yeah, there's Black Adam, and then all the other names are just like
it's like Imhotep and Isis and Osiris.
It's a very Egyptian-like culture, and then one of the reasons we bring him up is because they already cast him. They cast him like 20 years before the DC universe got started. The Rock is going to be playing him soon. I think that's kind of cool, but could you see The Rock playing Black Adam?
Well, to me, it's just lazy racial casting because...
Oh, really?
Well, because Black Adam is Egyptian, Rock is Samoan, but someone on some level is like, hey, they're both brown.
Yeah.
To me, that's what, it's like...
I think it's possible, but I really don't think... I haven't seen Rock play a role that's similar to Black Adam. That's the only thing that makes me nervous.
I think he has the build for it.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
If you look back at his old Rock, People's Eyebrow, do you smell what the Rock is cooking? I think he can pull off the attitude.
Black Adam is not this hyped up, charismatic feel.
That's true.
He's in charge, he needs to know it, but he doesn't need to show off.
Right.
he just does it naturally because he feels he's above you, but he doesn't need these are my powers. Look, everybody, get what to do.
You smell what Black Adam is cooking.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that makes me nervous about it. He's got the look, but who knows what else is going to work out.
And then there was The Rock and the Scorpion King, and that was horrible. It was horrible.
No, I'm a sucker for it. It's kind of that movie was kind of Hercules-esque.
Actually, no, I take it back. I like the Scorpion King. I don't like the character of the Scorpion King in the Mummy movie.
Mummy 2, where he's like 100% CG worse than PS2 graphics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, even as a kid I hated that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, next.
Superboy Prime.
Superboy Prime scares me in real life.
Wake up with nightmares with him. Superboy Prime,
he's gonna come bursting through my wall. And that's because his character is actually supposed to be from our real world. Like, the DC universe is part of the multiverse, and there's the different Earths, and Superboy Prime is from our Earth, the reader's real life Earth is supposedly where Superboy Prime is from.
The two big stories, as far as I know, is Blackest Night and the Sinestro Corps War. And then the Blackest Night, this is a prequel I was reading that, well, you obviously know this one too, I'm guessing, but he was like, I gotta go to the comic book store and find out what happens next. And like they always make Tee comics, but he's like, seriously, he's reading what happens in his life next. Hurry up. In the comic, like he's asking that story. That part is actually kind of funny, wink, wink. But the part that's scary is how he's taking his parents for hostage. They're like, we got your favorite thing. And he's like, you guys love me, right? They're like, yes, of course you love me, because that's the first time I read him. I was like, what is going on? He's like, why isn't he acting like Superboy? And he's like, he's forcing him to treat him like Superboy, even though he's not behaving like a Superboy-like character.
Right.
That's, like, scares me. It's like, love me like the charming fellow I am, or I'll kill you. Like, what?
Yeah. And in another big story is Infinite Crisis, and he's like, hey, I'm Superboy, I'm happy. And then the person's like, Superboy, you're not doing the right thing. And he's like, bam, and punches them in the face and like literally punches their head right off. And is like, oh crap, I didn't mean to do that. I'm way stronger than I thought. And then someone else is like, holy crap, we gotta stop this guy. And he's like, no, don't, and grabs their arm and like rips their arm right off and is like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to do that. And like just like
it almost comes off comedic, but it's so horrific what has happened. You're like you smirk for a second and you're like you shiver the next 10 minutes.
It's like someone with all the powers of Superman, but absolutely no control or training or discipline. It's kind of like what we talked about last time with John, Superman Rebirth, killing the cat. Now imagine if he grows up and has no training or restraint.
He has no Pa Kent to raise him, and that's how Superboys always go different directions from the actual Superman, as they didn't have Ma and Pa Kent. That's what makes the difference. As explained many times, that's the canon of why Clark Kent is Clark Kent is because of Ma and Pa. Lex Luthor tried to duplicate, don't turn out that way, and Lex Luthor's like, but I have all the genes, I have all the science. Like, but you don't have the morals.
Exactly.
You don't got the parents. You don't got the love.
You don't got the Kansas.
You don't got the you don't got the little boy in Kansas. Yeah, and I think he's just underrated just because it's Superboy.
Exactly.
He's named Superboy, so you kind of roll your eyes and go, oh, Superboy again.
And Superboy Prime makes it even worse because you think of like Optimus Prime and what the heck is this nonsense?
Yeah, I don't know what direction they could go with that because our Earth Prime.
Yes, exactly.
And so the whole Earth thing always gets people muddled. Like, this is Earth 2 Superboy. It's like, oh, Earth 1, this is a nightmare, If you're keeping up with the story, it's not so hard. This is a tough one. How would you use Superboy Prime to where because he's kind of got this comedic effect, but at the same time he's got this chilling effect. So how would you use him justly to maybe make fans appreciate him again more?
But what would be awesome is if the cyborg Superman took him under his wing and trained him, but not train him as Ma Pa Kent. More was like, no, I'm going to train you how to be an evil Superman. And I'm going to give you the training and discipline you need to use your powers, but...
Actually, I think it would be better if he tried to train him as Ma Pa Kent. but he can't, though, because he's Cyborg Superman. He's just as much effed up. He's like, I'm going to make you better than Superman by training you like them. That's why Superman's so great, is because of those morals.
I just had this image of, like, Cyborg Superman, like, with bib overalls and a straw hat, and, like, his robot face, like, hello, let's go plow in the field. Time to milk the cows.
He's got to trick him though. He's got to make it like these simple, fun tasks. He's got to make him seem maniacal though.
Yeah.
Milk the devil cows. Yes, it's evil now. Don't you feel love now, Superboy? Pat. Coffee, Superman Cyborg. All right, that is for our underrated villains. I hope you guys look them up. and rate them adequately.
Exactly. Give them the rating they deserve.
They deserve it. They tried hard.
They worked for it.
Well, someone worked. They're not real, but whatever.
All right, and last but not least is our third installment of Great Nerds in History.
Great Nerds in History.
Great Nerds in... You have the honors. Go for it.
It's Nicolas Cage!
Nick Cage, everyone. Not the bees! Not the bees!
You betcha!
It's Nick Cage. Why are we naming Nick Cage our great nerd?
Oh my god, we have too many reasons. Of course, he's the movie guy.
He loves movies. he loves being in movies.
He loves being in movies because I don't think they make there's a College Humor skit where he just doesn't say no to any movie thrown in his direction. But there's 3 movies in particular, one that doesn't even exist, that's very comic book related.
Yeah.
We'll give you the 2 that everyone knows about. What's the first one, Matt?
Ghost Rider.
Okay.
I'm the only one who can walk in both worlds.
Nicolas Cage ride a motorcycle, and then I don't even know if they need a CG.
Right.
Because he can make those faces.
Yeah. He's just all wild. I'm surprised Nicolas Cage just didn't light his own head on fire.
Maybe he tried to. We can't afford this Nicolas Cage.
No, Nick, no. Nicolas Cage is a huge comic book fan, and he's a huge Ghost Rider fan. Ghost Rider is his favorite superhero, and he was apparently instrumental in the making of both Ghost Rider and Ghost Rider 2. They made Ghost Rider, and people were like, that movie sucked. And then they were like, but Nick Cage was like, I want to do it again. And they're like, well, shit, Nick Cage wants to do it, let's do it. So that's what I know. That's the story.
What do you happen to know what involvement he has? Did he give some ideas to the story, or did he say, look at these comics, you jerks?
I honestly don't know. He maybe even didn't have anything to do with the involvement, but I know that I could be talking completely out of my...
Don't take back a good story with your honesty.
But no, I do know that he loves Ghost Rider, and Ghost Rider is his favorite character. And when his son was born, the original version of Ghost Rider was Johnny Blaze, and so Nick Cage apparently wanted to name his son Johnny in honor of Johnny Blaze, and then realized, oh my gosh, I'm going to be naming my kid Johnny Cage.
Whatever you say, Bobo.
And that's a Mortal Kombat. We've come full circle back to Mortal Kombat. And so
Did we start with Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, I talked about Mortal Kombat at the beginning.
Oh, I missed it.
You need better manners.
Fans at home, rewind and listen to the beginning when I talk about Mortal Kombat 2 different times. So he didn't want to name his kid Johnny Cage because there's a Mortal Kombat character. So instead, he named his kid Kal-El.
That's no one will make fun of me because of that.
Which is the Kryptonian name of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't get much more nerdier than naming your kid Kal-El. I know Kevin Smith has named his daughter Harley Quinn Smith, so that's a close second. But Kal-El Cage that's about as nerdy as it gets. What's the other movie he was in? Or do you have any comments or observations on that?
That's one of those names. I don't know if you could survive with one of those names. If people make fun of you because you're nerds, or if you're just like, it's so unique, you get away with it.
I think if you were an average old ordinary person, you would get killed with a name like Kal-El. But if Nick Cage is your dad...
But he's Kal-El, though.
If you can get away with anything, if Nick Cage is your dad, you can be like...
I was going to say, you wouldn't want Nicolas Cage to give you a talking because you wouldn't know what the talk was about, but you know your life has changed because of that talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's just that kind of guy. The other one was Kick-Ass.
Oh, I love that movie.
That's the kind of the parodies, but not really, of superhero movies.
Kind of like what if superheroes exist in real life, but also not really.
But then, like halfway through the movie, they're like, JK, they are real.
Yeah.
But he plays such a pimp named Big Daddy.
Yup.
One thing I want to speak is, I don't know any background behind the movie, but I read the comics before I watched the movie, and I did not like Big Daddy in the comics. He was so droll, he was so a-hole, and I was like, I don't like this guy. And when he, spoilers, when he got his, I was like, whatever. I was surprised. I was very shocked, but I was like, whatever. When Nicolas Cage dies, though, he gave some heart to it. He made it cutie. He's like, shoot me, honey bunny, and stuff like that. Yeah. And I don't know if that's what exactly words, but so he gave some light to the character, and he made, like, being a dad kind of... It could be fine with him.
Yeah, he was kind of like lovably psychotic, which is, I think, one of the things Nick Cage does best, is be lovably psychotic.
Well, you compare the character in the comics, he's crazy, and in the movies, what he's doing is crazy. So you have to sit down and think about it. And then the last thing why Nicolas Cage is so fitting to be the great nerd in history. This kind of comes full circle in just our little great nerd in history bit. Is who did he almost play in the 90s, Matt?
Superman.
And who
wrote that movie?
Tim Burton?
Kevin Smith.
Did he? Well, no, not necessarily.
Well, Kevin Smith
he wrote a script.
He wrote 10 different people wrote the script.
And then Tim Burton hated that script.
Yeah.
Like, apparently, like, he's like, get the script away from me, because I guess Kevin Smith was like, he put as many effing references as possible.
Oh, I'm sure.
And because they were trying to do the death of Superman, because that was a big theme in the comics, and it didn't follow through. I think just budget and stuff like that. But there's like infamous pictures all over the world of Nicolas Cage wearing their Superman suit,
and it looks ridiculous.
It looks ridiculous, but I don't think that was the suit they were going to use. I think these are like, let's put a suit on him per cheat. This looks garbage. We got to work on it.
Yeah.
And it's because it didn't go any further. I'm surprised it got as far as making suits, though, because that costs a lot of money. He almost played Superman. He named his kid Kal-El, so that kind of comes in full circle. I don't know if I would have wanted to see Superman with Nicolas Cage, but at the same time, I kind of do. It's just to see what the F Nicolas Cage would have done with the role.
I'd rather see him as Lex Luthor.
This is my mission!
Oh my gosh. Well, I think I can only accept it now because of Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg has opened a whole new route for.
That's totally true. Totally true. I was as soon as I said it, I was like, well, except for Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor. I want to see Nick Cage play Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor.
And we like Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor, but let's not go into that. Is there anything else about Nicolas Cage being a great nerd in our history lineup?
Nick Cage is amazing. That's all I can say.
There's no words to describe his face, so
exactly. You don't say. My Nick Cage is a nerd. My hair is a bird. Your argument is invalid. That even rhymed. There's a meme.
Did you just come with that?
No,
or
Google it.
Oh my! I'm behind in the nerd times.
The first part I added, but
okay, I like it.
Yeah.
I was just trying to catch up. I was like, is this something I didn't know about, or is this a reference I'm behind on? But that's our great nerd in history.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I want to say the third episode. It's actually our fourth. We just didn't do Great Nerd in History the first time. But thank you for our fourth Nerd Jam.
Mm-hmm. Any ideas we're going to talk about next time, Matt?
Next time, we're going to talk about the Soviet Union and economy. No, I don't know. We're going to talk about...
Oh, I got a shock face. I'm just... Yeah. But the only reason is I'm trying to think of Russian comic book people.
Yeah, we should talk about Superman Red Sun.
Ooh, we might talk about Superman Red Sun. We might talk about wrestling.
We almost talked about wrestling this time.
That's an ongoing...
I swear.
That's an ongoing joke.
We even had a person, but that's...
It's not dropped that yet.
Yeah.
He might be brought up in the future, and we might not.
Yeah.
And then we might do movies. We might be doing another editorial about...
Maybe more trailers.
More trailers, yes.
Alien Covenant.
Yeah, we might rank the Alien Predator franchise.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
We might go over our favorite underrated, overrated movies.
We should talk about action figures and toys and statues and collectibles.
I'm only on board with the Funko Pops.
Okay.
But that's kind of a tough thing because this isn't really a visual media.
That's true.
Do you like this action figure, people? Look how
awesome it is.
It's got 42 points of articulation.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. But anyways, who knows? It'll be a jam and a half to remember.
All right, thanks for listening.
Bye.
You've been listening to Nerd Jam.